What is up, guys, gals, and you awesomines and gamers of different shapes and sizes, along with other fishy qualities. It is me, Josh, Ignore Proxy, bringing you some Vermintide 2 fishy qualities. You're all beautiful. Fishes can be beautiful too. That's what they do. They do that little when they come towards you for a kiss, and how can you say no? But we are playing some Vermintide 2 today on the PC. I played about 3 hours of this so far, and oh my goodness, just as good as the original. It's really fun. It's basically Left 4 Dead, but more of the kind of assault kind of stuff, you know, like, say, how in, like, Left 4 Dead it's all about survival and stuff, but in Vermintide, or at least in the original Vermintide, it was all about fighting giant humanoid rats, and now actually fighting chaos as well, which is really cool. If you're a knowledgeable fan, or just someone of an observer of, say, the Warhammer franchise, you'll know that there are these different races and factions and stuff like that, and one of these is obviously the Chaos. This is a really popular kind of faction, I guess you could say. Obviously there were the Space Marines and stuff like that. This is actually based before all that stuff, before the whole 40k thing. This is all about like orcs and stuff. I've not come across any orcs yet, though that would be really freaking awesome if they did. But we are actually fighting Chaos this time, so not just gigantic humanoid rats. We are fighting now Chaos humans, I guess. They really reminded me of Hellblade for some reason. You know, the little like Viking Nord asshole tribesman from that, but it kind of reminds me of that a lot. But still, really good game, really fun, and I just wanted to bring you the first level, I guess. I'm not actually too sure now, because there were different levels, but they're completely randomized, so there's not actually kind of like one specific level that you can play from the beginning and then you play. It kind of all they just pick for you, which is kind of unusual. Also playing with a bunch of other people, which is fantastic, so I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to play a solo, I want to try and gain the experience of playing this with other peeps. One thing instantly that you can see is they've introduced bosses. Right off the bat. We literally started this video like 2 minutes ago, and they're already introducing bosses. That is so cray-cray. I actually played this in like a barn area, which really reminded me of that bounty hunter game that's just come out about hunting monsters and stuff. And it was like this giant troll thing just like this one. I don't know if it was the same color or not, though. There might be color variations and different kind of like powers and stuff that they can use as well, but as you can see, really cool, but very deadly. And this is something that was quite surprising, because the original Vermintide was quite smooth and fluid in its progression. Like, you felt like you could handle yourself, which was kind of cool. Also, this fight took forever. Like, we were fighting it for donkeys, and this is the thing, because the whole point of the game is to level up and stuff. So you play through the levels, you kick loads of ass, as you can see, and then you gain loot, you level up your character, you get more abilities and stuff like that. But the unusual thing about Vermintide 2 is that it kind of really throws you in on the deep end. So like, this was me at like level 2, I guess. Like, I'd played like 2 levels before this, completely died because we were fighting these gigantic troll monsters. And it was really interesting because you really need good gear to fight these. And it kind of makes me wonder, because this is actually on easy as well, which was also incredibly shocking. And so I was like completely out of my depth with fighting these dudes. But it seems like you just gotta work as a team. You just gotta make sure that you actually do everything correctly. Funnily enough as well, they've actually made it so that this game is a little bit more melee focused. Like, the first game had this combination of, say, like ranged and melee, which you can do in this game, but there was this thing where you had like ranged ammo, like a better kind of like supply. Like, as you can see there, look, there is a ammo box which has infinite ammo for you to use. You just got to keep collecting, which was really useful fighting this troll. But originally, when I fought this at like the barn thing, we ended up just completely failing because we had no ammo. We had to melee it, and it just completely pwned you in melee. You can only use range to really gain any form of advantage against it, and so that was really lucky. And so it was this kind of thing where sometimes the game will kind of decide just to completely screw you over, which I don't know if I appreciate or not. I'm not too sure yet. I need to play a little bit more of it, but I'm looking forward to potentially getting this on PS4. This is actually the PC version, a review code for it, but as you know, I really love playing on my PS4, and I actually have the original Vermintide on PS4, but this is what they had, so I'm going to use it. And this is also amazing, look. So this guy here, something that's really cool is that there's like obviously decapitation, dismemberment, but what would you say, the animation for like death is like really good. So just like chopping off a head or like the upper half of a body, it's just like seeing the guy like drunkenly dance around. Like, if you started doing like drunken foo or something, that would be even more amazing. But then again, that might be a little bit OP for an enemy. It's still really badass though that they've ended up kind of like cranking up a little bit more when it came to the production values. Like, the original Vermintide had this kind of, I don't know, like entry level kind of, I don't know, you say presentation about it. It was still nice. It was kind of cool to look at. It had a really good art style. And even this one here is like very, very faithful to the whole Warhammer shtick, which is awesome. And it's also, and this is the main thing to remember, is that it's actually a good Warhammer game. This is the first thing I want to say off the bat, because you might be thinking like, well, is it good or not? It is actually a good game. It's freaking hard. Like, they must have thought to themselves, hey, let's make a Dark Souls version of this. Like, it really feels like they've ended up cranking the difficulty up to like 10,000. And it is on easy as well. Like, you can't even play normal until you've leveled up enough. And this is literally easy mode. Like, I remember like kicking some serious butt in the original Vermintide, and I played some Vermintide just to warm up before doing Vermintide 2, and damn, they really throw you in on it, and it's like, it's just cray-cray. You can probably recognize some of the original enemies as well if you've played this. And it's the unusual thing, maybe it's balance. I don't know if it's like a balance issue or something. Like, you've got these like flamer rats, or you've got like the Gatling, oh my god, that was amazing. You've got like flamer rats, you've got like Gatling gun rats and everything like that. And these are supposed to be like special enemies, but it sometimes feels like some of the enemies are more powerful than the special stuff. Like, you'd think that a flamer rat that can like do serious damage to you, that is classed as like a mini boss in a sense, would end up having more health, but as you saw there, they die really quickly. Yet standard Chaos enemies, or even just rats themselves, have like loads and loads of health. So I'm just not really too sure about that. But comment section below, let me know what you think of this. Would love to know. Obviously as well, you get like random bits of loot, and this is all aesthetic stuff as well, which I think is really cool. So when playing through games like this, and it's something that I kind of appreciate over games, say like The Division, which has very ununique, I guess you could say, variations of weapon like loot and gear, is that everything kind of looks the same, or there's like only kind of like 5 different models and stuff. In this, everything has like a model, which is really, really badass. Also, I don't know why I did that. There's like an enemy that has like it's like a Chaos Sorcerer or something, and it creates these giant like swirly whirlpools. It like picks up the player and like throws them around. It's really, really cool. I have barely any health now. This is also a full run of this map. This is something just to mention. Like, I've been playing this for 3 hours and we were not able to complete any of the missions, but just because of how freaking ridiculous it is, and it makes me wonder if maybe the game just wants you to grind a little bit and like fail, but also get better at it in a sense. I'm not too sure, but that is something that I don't know if that's a positive or a negative. I don't know if maybe they'll fix that later on. I'm not too sure. Also, throwing barrels around and setting stuff on fire, you may notice that the things are getting sped up. That's because these levels go on forever, and so one thing that I like to do, as you know, in multiplayer videos and stuff like that, is speed along some of the sections that aren't very important and things like that. I want to show you the meaty stuff, you know, the really, really cool things. And also, it allows you just to, you know, get a little bit of a taste of it. And it kind of looks cute as well, like just seeing them just rushing around like really quickly. It's like the Flash, but in like 16th century or something. I'm not too sure. 17th century, but with gigantic humanoid rats. Also, playing as the Demon Hunter or the Bounty Hunter, or is he called a Witch Hunter? I can't remember anymore. Witch Hunter, I think it is. And this is a really cool thing. There are different characters. I believe there are 5 in total. You basically have kind of like this Spanish Inquisition knight dude. You have a elf ranger, you have obviously the witch hunter, what we're doing here. We've also got a witch itself, and then you have a dwarf. The dwarf is not in this video, but we'll probably cover it in the future, potentially, possibly. And they all have different weapons, they all have different abilities, talismans, everything like that. They all have their own loot. My entire team has just been downed here, so obviously me coming in to save the day, of course. And it's still really good. It's this thing where like you can only play as one type of character, like per thing. Like, everyone has to kind of like pick that role and stick to it, and it's kind of a good thing, because one thing I really, really hate about multiplayer games that make you have the ability to like pick multiple of the same character is that it makes things kind of like ruin the immersion. I don't know if anybody else agrees with that. Like, it just makes you feel like, you know, if you went into a room and you just saw a bunch of clones of yourself and you just like sat there really, really awkward, just staring at everybody, and it was kind of like incredibly weird, and everyone was staring at you, and I don't know, like, it just doesn't seem right. It feels really, really out of place. And the really good thing about this is that they all talk to each other. There's actually a narrative, there's actually voice acting, and so it kind of justifies itself by having everybody be a separate character. This Gatling gun rat here showing up, but as I was saying, look, died instantly. Like, that was nothing. And there are other ranged rats in this that you can fight, but for some reason the Gatling gun one is incredibly weak now. Again, I don't really know about the balancing of this game. I don't know if it's good or if it's bad. If you've been playing this, let me know. I'd love to know what you think. And the dismemberment is so, so good. I really love that. I love violent games. I love things that are just incredibly over the top when it comes to violent. Kind of like, I don't just like fighting monsters, you know. Like, I'm not saying like I love seeing like mutilation and death and stuff like that of like human people in video games, but like, say monsters and stuff, like, it just shows that kind of like, again, it's like immersion building. It's like just detail, like, who doesn't want to see the inner workings of a giant alien rat? And, you know, like, do they have the exact same spleens as us? I'm not too sure. But another thing here is everything feels really progressive. They've actually got these little like cinematic scenario modes now where you've got like this bit here, we have to activate this crane and it drops down this cannon and the cannon blows at the wall and stuff. And this is something that we didn't actually have in the original Vermintide. Everything was kind of like you go into an area, you survive for a little bit and that being it, which is still in this. Like, don't get me wrong, this kind of stuff is still prevalent within Vermintide, which is not a bad thing. Like, this is what Left 4 Dead is about, you know, this is that kind of stuff, like the whole zombie survival horde thing. Don't know why my game is glitchy. Again, the game has just come out, so I'm a little bit worried about it right now, but I'm hoping it's going to keep playing. Let's just make sure. Like, I recorded this and I remember having some kind of like weird kind of like gameplay performance issues. My computer can handle this. This is another unusual thing, is that my game can, you know, be played. You know, I wouldn't just like record this like on like pants visuals. I want to make sure that I can actually bring you some good gameplay, and I hope this is good gameplay to you. And again, bosses. This is something that's really cool about Vermintide now, is we actually do have bosses. In the original one, you just had these gigantic tank rats. The tank rat is still in this. Again, it has those kind of like Left 4 Dead inspirations about it, but now it has like actually more variety to it too. So like in the original game, it was all kind of like you played through these different levels, but the enemies were always the same. But this time, you have these really unique bosses, and they're really fun to fight. They all have their own kind of like unique ways of fighting you as well. Like this guy here has kind of like flamethrower claw hands or something. He's another flamethrower rat, but he's a giant tank one. It's like, just, I don't know, don't ask me why. I assume these, you could actually buy these and paint them in the actual Warhammer board game, because remember that's where it all kind of originated and stuff. But really badass. I love that they've actually put bosses into this, and it adds that extra little bit of challenge. Again though, I don't really know if they need to kind of like balance the game though. Because again, like, maybe it's because I'm playing with people who have leveled up a little bit, I'm not too sure. But like, originally when I played this, I played it with, everyone was level 1, and we went against the little ogre thing at the start. Got our butt cheeks completely kicked. Like, we had no idea what to do, and in the end someone just said, look, let's just run away from it, which you can do. I believe you can actually like run away from these bosses and just keep progressing potentially. I'm not too sure about this. When we like stay and fight this guy, they're all super confident. My entire team is going down. I seem to be the only healthy one here, but it's fine, we'll get over it. It seems like maybe I'm the lower level one here, but for some reason I'm just kind of like playing tactically. I'm not too sure. The really good thing about this though is, again, this level has actually been able to supply us with an infinite supply of ammunition for range attacks, and that's kind of good for my character who actually has dual pistols. So he has just one pistol, but he can actually do dual to kind of like focus down. This is kind of like his special ability, and that's really fun. He kind of does this whole equilibrium, kind of like John Wick kind of thing, and it's really fun. It's really badass, and this is actually kind of what like saves the day while we're fighting against this boss, because you do actually have your more melee focused characters, like the dude we're playing as can also be melee focused as well, and I think they all can do this. Like, they all have their own range attacks. Like this dude right now has like some kind of weird shotgun Gatling gun look, which is like really balsam. I think I had that in the original game, I cannot remember. But they all have their own unique stuff, their own unique kit, and I really like that because it means that there is that variety, that reason to actually play as all the different characters. I don't think you can share all this stuff between the two. Like, I know that from playing the introduction tutorial right at the beginning, I was trying to figure out how to give this person a health potion, but because he keeps lagging out and stuff, it wouldn't let me like sync by giving him the health. But again, the pistols, everything, just really fun. The combat's really fluid. It all works. Like, you have a block button, as you've probably seen me use. You have a dodge now as well, which is really useful. And you also have like the heavy attack, the shove, everything like that as well. And it all just completely works. It all kind of like has a reason for using it. You can't spam in this game. Like, you have ranged attacks, obviously, and you have melee, but you actually do have to block sometimes. The game has a horrible habit of kind of like dropping so much stuff on you that it's really hard to figure out what stuff is actually kind of like, you know, hitting you or is about to hit you. There's no hit detection really. Like, everything kind of feels like you're getting poked. It doesn't really hurt, but for some reason your health bar is going down while you're doing it. So I don't really know why that happens. Another game that actually did that was Wolfenstein 2. Like, I love Wolfenstein as a series to death, and I love the Wolfenstein 2 game. But damn, the hit like detection in that game was so bad. Like, BJ kind of just accepted everything that he took in the face, and I don't really know why. Wow, for some reason the game just keeps jumping for some reason. I'm not too sure. Why did this happen when I played it? Maybe it did, I'm not too sure. Again, the game just came out, so you got to give them the benefit of the doubt here. And again, this is like not an indie developer, but like a third-party developer. They're not going to have that kind of like AAA budget about them, but look at the engine, look at the visuals, really good. And even like, say, the surroundings, the environment looks awesome as well. You actually believe this shizzle's been lived in, which is really badass too. And again, it's just Left 4 Dead, but with giant humanoid rats and orcish kind of like chaos warriors. I'm a massive fan of Warhammer, so I know all this shizzle is, and so just knowing that they've added in another race, and the fact that they've actually put variety, like, this is the thing. In a lot of games, like, say, if you're going to play, like, say, Dark Souls and stuff like that, a lot of the time that these kind of, like, developers will, with sequels, will kind of not add much, which is a bit of a shame. Like, say if you played, like, Left 4 Dead 2, like, they added a few things, but it wasn't kind of, like, Left 4 Dead 2 was fun, but it didn't really have that kind of, like, that meaty variety to it. But in this game, they've actually added, like, an immense amount. This is Fatshark, by the way, who actually developed a really cool game that I love to death called Crater, which is kind of like a Diablo, kind of like end of the world, like apocalypse, kind of like Mad Max-centric game. Really, really fun. One of the first games that they actually properly made for, like, PC, and it was so good. I loved it. It had that really high production value again. Art style was fantastic. And we actually get down tier, which was not fun. This is actually the final area. And oh my god, they really throw things at you. Again, I really feel like the game wants you to grind out and fail, like, which is really unusual because maybe they put in less maps or something, I'm not too sure. Or they actually want you just to play this over and over again, but there is like a real feeling of punishment, like of kind of like difficulty. This is easy. And it does not feel like easy whatsoever. Like, it really makes you worry of what normal is. Or, like, hard. Or I think there's, like, an uber hard as well and stuff. And it's just crazy to think that because if you can't, like, handle easy, how are you supposed to handle the other ones? It's just nuts. But still, it's cool. I'm enjoying it. This is the thing. I played a little bit of it, and I've enjoyed it so far. Again, really want to play it on PS4, though, because it is this thing. I prefer using controls when it comes to games like this, especially when it's, like, melee focused as well. Like, I hate having to click my mouse. That's really, really annoying. But when you have, like, a trigger button, you can just, like, spam it. Oh, it's so fun. I'm actually kind of, like, flicking. Look at that flamethrower rat. So awesome. The effects in this game are really good as well. Everything just has that little extra bit of love. And it's obviously because they sold really, really well when it came to Vermintide. Another thing that they also did was they actually ended up sharing this among streamers and YouTube channels as well, and made sure to promote this game, like, really, really well. While, like, say, other games, they kind of, like, what would you say, depend on just marketing alone. But Vermintide did a really good thing, which was obviously to give it 2 channels and actually say, hey, this game is what I'm playing, come check it out and see me play it. You know, it wasn't this kind of thing of, like, hoping people would actually go buy it and then stream it and stuff like that. They've actually given these things out. And, oh my god, it's got pwned again. It's just not fun at all. Let me know though in the comment section below if you've been able to do this without dying yet, especially on easy mode. Like, obviously you need to grind. I so believe you need to grind, because I remember kicking, like, some serious ass in this game, on the original one, should I say, and it's just been really, really, like, accessible. This one is not. I don't know if maybe it's my teammates are sucking or something like that. I'm not too sure. I'm dodging, I'm blocking, I'm doing my heavy attacks and stuff. Actually using a different weapon here, which is like some kind of weird... Is it called a scimitar or something like that? It looks like a giant machete, basically. And I also have my, like, pistols and stuff. I actually got this, like, machete thing as loot, which is kind of awesome. Like, what they've done now as well is they've got loot chests in the game. When you complete stuff, you actually end up getting these little loot chests, and the better you do in the game as well, it actually levels up these loot chests and gives you even better potential loot too, which is really badass. It's all this kind of thing, like, say, in, like, Rainbow Six or something, where you get this one type of loot, and it doesn't increase the chances of getting, like, a really better sense of rarity to things. Like, in this game, they actually kind of increase the rarity chance the more you play the levels. And maybe that's why. Maybe that kind of, like, makes sense when it comes to the loot and stuff. Like, the further you get into the levels, there is actually kind of like a checkpoint system at the end of each of these levels and stuff, and that actually gives you the loot. And you see the loot box kind of, like, level up, which is a cool thing. I really like that. It's a really cool idea when it comes to playing games more. Like, say if you were playing Overwatch, like, you can get a loot box, but what if you could actually, like, play even better and it actually increase your chances of getting, like, an exotic skin or something like that? That's actually a really cool idea. I love the idea of that. I do have some footage of that actually happening. We've completed this level now, so now you've had to see a taste of what Vermintide 2 is all about. Really good game. Highly recommend it. Really fun, especially with friends. It's really difficult as well, and I think that's kind of good for the longevity of the game too. I would love to know your opinion on that. Do you like easy games? Do you like hard games? Do you like games that bend you over and spank you around like you're a husband after the wedding? I don't actually know if that's what happens. I haven't actually been married yet, but you never know, one day. Still though, Vermintide 2, really fun, really awesome. Hopefully we'll be able to do a review of it. Never got a chance to do a review of the first one. Did get it as a stream copy, but we just never had the time. I think I streamed it a little bit, but still, hopefully if I can get this on PS4, I'd love to do that. So we are now officially level 4. And this is where it does the whole thing. So now we got a commendation chest, and again, what it's going to do is, I think it's the next chest that you get. Is it going to give me another one? No, that's it. I really like that blue bar as well. I love the color blue. What's your favorite color? I'd love to know what your favorite color is. Let's do that while snuggling. You tell me. But anyway, here is these little checkpoints. Look, so by completing certain checkpoints, it kind of like levels up the box, which is cool. So it's this kind of thing where it kind of like gives you a higher chance of better gear. I can't remember what gear I got. I think I got like some talismans and stuff, but this is stuff that actually really helps. Like it increases your like melee speed, and as you can see, you attack really quickly already. And I really like that. I love that kind of thing where you can actually level up and, like, the loot box, not just yourself, like, you actually have a higher chance of potentially getting more loots. And that's kind of badass. It just makes me want to play even more. It makes me want to play through those levels and see if I can actually do it by completing the entire thing. Really curious to see how many actual maps there are in this game. I think there was like 3 or 4 in the original, or maybe 5. There's also DLC as well. But as you can see, look, got a 2-handed sword, which looks really cool, like the whole curvy kind of like Soul Reaver thing. Oh my god, I want to play Soul Reaver now. Talisman and axe. I'm not too sure if I can use, but still, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Vermintide 2. It's been me, Josh, Proxy, bringing you some Vermintide 2 on the PC. Oh damn, even some more loot. I think I probably leveled up that sword there. I'm going to use that next time. But either way, ciao for now.